Hello, my name is Shelley Pavel. This presentation is for activity 7.2, decision making in an organization. The purpose of this activity is to apply the 7 strategies in the decision making process to a work concern. The environment of this concern will be in the warehouse of Silicon Plastics, and the goal is to establish the best course of action to take regarding the defined problem. Silicon Plastics is a manufacturing organization that produces plastic bottles and containers both nationally and internationally. The main customers of the Ottawa, Ohio division are Procter & Gamble, Scott's Miracle-Gro, Avon Beauty Products, Caro Syrup, Hinkle Cleaning Supplies, and Clorox. Silicon Plastics Ottawa employs approximately 150 hourly employees and 20 salary staff members. Currently, the warehouse department consists of 6 employees that work various shifts from 7 a.m. until 4 p.m. Monday through Friday. The problem we will be discussing will be whether or not it would be feasible to implement a flex time policy throughout the work week to better accommodate events in the staff's lives beyond the workplace, with the understanding that they must maintain a 40-hour work schedule in the warehouse department. The decision analysis tools that would be useful in this situation include a scenario analysis. A scenario analysis tool is a decision-making tool that analyzes relevant scenario information and extracts historical data to guide employees towards a decision automatically. The second tool that could be used would be a feasibility study. A feasibility study involves the imagination of potential outcomes of the decision-making process. This would be useful because it would allow the department manager the opportunity to brainstorm, list, and consider the various outcomes, impacts, and ramifications of implementing a new flex time policy within the warehouse. The third tool would be a SWOT analysis. SWOT stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, and is an essential part of any business and technical planning. A SWOT analysis evaluates internal and external factors as well as current and future potential, where the internal factors are strengths and weaknesses and the external factors are opportunities and threats. A SWOT diagram would be especially useful when trying to decide whether or not to implement a flex time procedure, because it would provide a visual outline of the positives and negatives associated with such a change. Once the SWOT analysis was conducted, the decision maker would have a better understanding of the decision and can make a more informed choice based on the information presented. According to research conducted by the Journal of Marriage and Family, it is largely documented that allowing flexible schedules that provide workers the ability to change work time and take time off during the workday are associated with positive work-related outcomes, such as job satisfaction, lower turnoff intentions, organizational commitment, as well as the benefits outside of work. Those include lower work to family conflict, less stress, increased family satisfaction, more time with children, and greater happiness in general. Debiasing refers to the procedure for reducing or eliminating bias from the cognitive strategies of the decision maker. The first one would be the anchoring bias. You must not rely too heavily on the first piece of information offered when deciding whether or not to allow flex time within the department. The second is the bias based on emotions. As a member of upper management, you have responsibility to ensure their organization is running at an optimal level and cannot be impacted solely by wanting to please your staff. The reason analogy for this process would be thinking about whether offering flex time at the facility have led to less tardiness, a decrease in absenteeism, and higher employee loyalty. When it's been conducted elsewhere, employees felt that it allows them to balance the demands of their professional and personal lives. Studies also show that if flex time is not controlled, then it can be misused and cause unnecessary hardship for the other employees who must be required to pick up the slack when one individual is not there. The next strategy is to take an outsider's view. The first outsider view that needs to be taken into account is the customers of Silicon Plastics. Their supply schedule must be adhered to over the preferences of our employees. Without adequate staff available to load and unload shipments, the facility cannot fulfill their obligations to their clients. These customers count on timely shipments of product to their facilities, and any delay in that will cause them downtime and cost them significant financial resources. This will mean that employees can only flex their schedule within the established time frame of the shipping and receiving schedule. The other outsider's view that must be considered is that of the other employees outside of the warehouse department. If they are not offered the same benefit, there will be employee friction amongst the organization and other negative employee feelings. The sense of fairness will be in question if one department is offered flex time and the others are not offered the same courtesy. We also must take the time to understand the bias in others. Being overconfident in a single one-size-all-fits solution sets an organization up for potential hardship and failure. So we have to be worried about other people, such as the facility manager, putting too much hopes and dreams into just this one process. It might not work out as they may think it will. The other is confirmation trap bias, which would occur by allowing the change in schedule without asking questions or conducting additional research besides what this department has done. As when making any decisions, we need to nudge wiser and more ethical decisions from others. One way of doing this to ensure that we are making an ethical decision is to establish a check and balance system to ensure that the process is being utilized correctly and not abused by staff members. We can also conduct a training so that all employees are aware of this change in the scheduling procedure and ensure they all understand how and when flex time can be utilized and what the consequences would be of misuse. The third is to ensure that all employees are treated equally and the use of the system will be conducted fairly and without bias. Once we have gone through all 7 of these steps, then we can decide what action plan is most appropriate for this situation. With dealing with the concept of flex time, the prescribed course of action is to offer flex time to members of the warehouse department as long as they can accommodate 40 hours during the Monday through Friday between 7 a.m. and 4 p.m. The ability to flex their schedule will be approved on a first come, first served basis and must be approved in advance by their supervisor. The supervisor will only approve a flex in their schedule if proper accommodations can be made to ensure the workload can be completed in a timely manner and can be dispersed fairly amongst the rest of the team. In conclusion, taking the time to apply the 7 strategies to a decision-making process can ensure that you will have put proper thought into establishing the most optimal solution, preventing the impact of bias, and utilizing all analytical tools necessary. Throughout the preparation and thinking process needed for success in this presentation, we have been able to practice and strengthen our comprehension and understanding of the decision-making process and increased our overall comprehension of the principles covered in this course.